I walked into the wrong room, said the wrong name, and woke a stranger from a coma. Now, she's lying next to me every single night. You're probably thinking I'm insane. Maybe I am. But this is the wildest, most unbelievable love story I've ever lived. And yeah, it's mine. So buckle up, because what started as the most embarrassing, heartbreaking mistake of my life turned into the reason I believe in destiny, miracles, and the kind of love that defies every logical explanation. It was a Tuesday evening in late March. I remember the exact day because Tuesdays were my mum's update days with the neurologist, and I'd started to dread them. St. Mary's Hospital smelled like antiseptic mixed with cafeteria coffee and broken dreams, and I'd been walking those cold hallways every single day for nearly a month since my mom's accident. She was in the ICU, room 407, stable but unconscious, trapped somewhere between here and gone. The doctors kept feeding me the same rehearsed lines. We're monitoring her closely. These things take time. Stay hopeful, hopeful. That word started to feel like a cruel joke. Every single day felt like I was carrying a boulder on my chest. I was 28 years old, running a small marketing firm that was barely staying afloat because I couldn't focus on anything except getting to that hospital. Sleep became this foreign concept. Food tasted like cardboard. My friends stopped calling because I stopped answering. Nothing in the world mattered except my mom waking up. She'd raised me by herself after Dad walked out when I was 7. She worked 2 jobs to put me through college. She was my rock, my compass, my everything. And now she was just gone. Physically there, but unreachable. That specific Tuesday, everything went wrong from the moment I woke up. My alarm didn't go off. I spilled coffee all over my shirt. Traffic was an absolute nightmare because of some accident on the interstate. And my business partner called screaming about a client threatening to pull out. By the time I got to the hospital, I was nearly 2 hours late, running on pure anxiety and 3 hours of sleep. I practically sprinted through those sterile white hallways, my heart pounding, guilt eating me alive for being late. Room 407. I knew that number by heart. I'd walked to that room so many times I could probably do it blindfolded. I pushed the door open, not even glancing at the chart or the name. Outside, because I was so locked into my routine, the lights were dimmed, machines beeping their monotonous rhythm. I went straight to the bedside, collapsed into that uncomfortable plastic chair I'd basically lived in for weeks, and just started talking like I always did. "Hey Mom, it's me. I'm so sorry I'm late. Everything went wrong today and I'm here now. I'm here." I launched into my usual rambling, told her about the chaos at work, about Mrs. Patterson next door who kept leaving passive-aggressive notes about my trash cans, about this documentary on ocean life I'd started watching because she always loved those. Just normal, meaningless stuff. The kind of one-sided conversation you have when the person who means everything to you can't respond. But then something shifted in me. Maybe it was the exhaustion or the fear, or just weeks of holding everything inside finally breaking through. My voice cracked and the words just poured out. "I can't do this anymore, Mom. I can't keep pretending I'm okay. I'm falling apart. The business is a mess. I can't sleep. I can't think straight. And I'm so angry. I'm angry at that drunk driver who hit you. I'm angry at God or the universe or whatever's supposed to be in control. And I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified that you're not coming back, that I'm going to lose you and I'll be completely alone, and I don't know how to exist in a world without you in it." Tears were streaming down my face. I wasn't even trying to hold them back anymore. I put my head down on the edge of the bed, my shoulders shaking. "Please, Mom, please come back to me. I need you. I need you to wake up and tell me everything's going to be okay. I need one of your terrible puns that make me groan. I need you to make me your famous pancakes and tell me I'm being dramatic. Please, I'm begging you, just come back." And that's when I heard it, a sound that made my blood run cold, a small groan. Not the mechanical sounds of the machines, but human, real. My head snapped up. I looked at the woman in the bed, really looked for the first time since barging in, and my entire world tilted sideways. This wasn't my mother. The woman in the bed was young, probably around my age. Long, dark auburn hair spread across the pillow instead of my mom's short. Silver blonde. Her face was different, completely different. Younger, unfamiliar. Panic slammed into me like a freight train. I shot up from the chair so fast it scraped loudly across the floor. Wrong room. I was in the wrong room. But how? I knew this was 407. I'd been coming here for weeks. Before I could process what was happening, before I could run out of there and find the right room, her eyes moved behind her closed lids. Then, slowly, like it was taking superhuman effort, her eyelids fluttered open. She stared straight up at the ceiling, blinking slowly, like she was remembering what it meant to see. Her breathing changed, became more intentional. Then her eyes shifted, and she looked directly at me. Time stopped. Everything stopped. We just stared at each other, me frozen in shock and horror, her confused and trying to focus. Her lips parted slightly, like she was trying to speak, but no sound came out. That snapped me out of my paralysis. "Oh my God, I'll get help!" I practically shouted, and bolted into the hallway, screaming for a nurse at the top of my lungs. What happened next was pure chaos. Nurses came running from every direction. A doctor appeared within seconds. I was pushed back against the wall as they swarmed the bed, checking vitals, shining lights in her eyes, asking rapid-fire questions. I heard fragments of their conversation. Her name was Lily, 27 years old. Coma for 8 days following complications from a brain infection caused by untreated meningitis. Critical condition. Family had been there around the clock but had left just 90 minutes ago to get food and rest. A nurse noticed me pressed against the wall, pale and shaking. "Are you family?" she asked quickly. "No, I walked into the wrong room. I thought this was 407. My mom's in..." "This is 407, she interrupted, checking the room number. "Who's your mother?" My stomach dropped. "Margaret Sullivan. She was in a car accident. She's been here for weeks." The nurse's eyes widened in understanding. "Oh, honey, your mother was moved to the step-down unit yesterday afternoon. Room 5 and 12 now. Didn't anyone call you?" They had. I'd missed 2 calls yesterday during a client emergency. I'd been so overwhelmed I forgot to check the voicemails. The doctor overheard and pulled me aside while the nurses continued working on Lily. "Your timing was extraordinary," he said quietly, studying me with this strange expression. "We've been trying different stimuli for days. Music, family voices, various techniques. Nothing worked. Her parents have been reading to her, talking to her constantly. But you walk in here, a complete stranger, and she responds immediately." "I don't understand," I whispered, still in shock. "Neither do I," he admitted. "Sometimes coma patients respond to emotional intensity, to genuine human connection. But this..." He trailed off, shaking his head. "This is remarkable." I left to find my mom, my hands still trembling. Room 512. She was there, still unconscious, but looking more peaceful than she had in the ICU. A nurse explained she'd improved, enough to move to a regular floor. They'd tried calling me twice. I sat with my mom for an hour, but my mind kept drifting back to room 407, to Lily, to the impossible thing that had just happened. 3 days passed. My mom was showing small signs of improvement, finger twitches, eye movements. The doctors were cautiously optimistic, but I couldn't stop thinking about the girl I'd accidentally woken up. It felt like the universe was trying to tell me something, and I didn't know what. On day 4, I worked up the courage to go back to the ICU. I told myself I just wanted to apologize properly, to make sure she was okay, to explain the mix-up. But truthfully, I needed to know if what I'd felt in that room was real, if that moment of connection was just trauma and exhaustion or something more. I knocked softly on the door of 407. A woman's voice called out, "Come in!" Lily was sitting up slightly in bed, still connected to some monitors but looking infinitely better than 4 days ago. Her parents had just stepped out, she told me later. When I walked in, recognition flashed across her face immediately. "You," she said, her voice still raspy but stronger. "Fish guy and trash can lady?" I couldn't help it, I laughed. Really laughed for the first time in weeks. "You heard all that?" Apparently, my brain was listening even if I couldn't respond. She said with a small smile, "The nurses told me what happened, that you thought I was your mom, that you were pretty emotional." Her eyes were kind, not mocking. "I'm so sorry for barging in like that, for saying all that stuff. I was just terrified," she finished softly. "I know, I heard it in your voice. Is your mom okay?" "She's improving." They moved her upstairs. "I missed the calls telling me because everything's been so crazy." "So you've been coming to the wrong room for how long?" she asked, eyebrows raised. "Just that one day, thankfully. But still, pretty spectacular mess-up." "Best mess-up I've ever been part of," Lily said quietly. Then her expression shifted, became more serious. "The doctors said you woke me up, that I responded to your voice after days of nothing working. That's impossible, right? You're a complete stranger." "Apparently impossible things happen in hospitals," I said, pulling up a chair. We talked for 2 hours that first day. She told me about her life before, how she was a pediatric nurse at a children's hospital across town, how she'd been dealing with headaches for weeks before everything went wrong, how she'd collapsed at her apartment and her roommate had found her seizing and called 911. She told me about the fear her family had been living with, how her younger brother had barely left her side, how her parents had been playing her favorite songs and reading her favorite books, trying to reach her. I told her everything, about my mom, about my failing business, about how completely lost I'd been feeling, about the guilt of being late that day, the panic of realizing I was in the wrong room, the shock of watching her eyes open. "Can I tell you something weird?" Lily said after a long pause. "I remember pieces of the coma, not like regular memories, but impressions, feelings. It was like being underwater in complete darkness, unable to move or breathe or scream. Terrifying doesn't even begin to cover it. But then I heard this voice, your voice, and it sounded so raw and real and human, not like the other voices that felt far away and muffled. Yours was clear, and I remember thinking, even though I couldn't form actual thoughts, that whoever was hurting that much deserved to not be alone. And then I was fighting to get back to the surface. Does that sound crazy?" "Everything about this sounds crazy," I admitted, "but also kind of perfect." I visited Lily every day for the next 2 weeks. My mom continued improving, starting to show more awareness, and having Lily to talk to about the terror and hope of it all kept me sane. We discovered we had this weird, inexplicable connection. Conversations flowed effortlessly. Silences felt comfortable instead of awkward. She made me laugh when I thought I'd forgotten how. 2.5 weeks after I'd stumbled into her room, my mom woke up. Fully woke up. I was reading her a chapter from her favorite mystery novel when her eyes opened and she whispered my name. I broke down completely, sobbing like a child, holding her hand and thanking every deity I could think of. My mom's recovery became my focus, but I made sure to visit Lily before she was discharged. She was going home with her parents for continued monitoring and physical therapy. "I'm going to miss our talks," she said when I came to say goodbye. "Who says they have to stop?" I asked, pulling a piece of paper from my pocket with my number scrawled on it. "I mean, if you want. No pressure. But I'd really like to stay in touch. You kind of saved my sanity through all this." Her smile lit up the entire room. "You saved my life. I think staying in touch is the least we can do." She texted me that same night. Just a simple, "Hey, it's Lily. Made it home safely. My cat doesn't recognize me and it's devastating." That text turned into daily messages. Messages turned into phone calls. Phone calls turned into video chats that lasted until 2 a.m. 3 weeks after she got home, we met for coffee at this little place halfway between our apartments. That coffee date lasted 6 hours. We talked about everything and nothing, childhood memories, embarrassing stories, dreams we'd given up on and ones we were still chasing, fears that kept us up at night. She told me about why she became a pediatric nurse, about the kids she'd cared for who'd changed her life. I told her about why I'd started my business, about my complicated relationship with my dad, about how much my mom meant to me. "Can I ask you something?" Lily said as we were finally leaving, the cafe staff clearly wanting to close. Do you believe in fate? I didn't, I said honestly. But walking into the wrong room and finding you, that's making me reconsider everything. She smiled and something in my chest shifted. Me too. Coffee became dinner the next week. Dinner became weekend hikes where we'd talk for hours on mountain trails. Hikes became movie nights that turned into falling, asleep on my couch mid-film and waking up with her head on my shoulder. Every moment felt easy and right and terrifyingly perfect. 4 months in, I knew with absolute certainty that she was it. The one. The person I'd been looking for without even knowing I was searching. This brilliant, compassionate, beautiful woman who'd literally come back from the edge of death and somehow chosen to spend her second chance with me. We were at the park watching the sunset when she told me more about what she remembered from the coma. I was so far gone, she said softly, and I didn't want to fight anymore. It was easier to just stay in the dark. But then I heard you, this stranger pouring his heart out, and something in me thought, if he can be that brave, that honest about his pain, maybe I can fight too. You gave me a reason to come back. You gave me hope when I had none left, I told her, taking her hand. I was drowning and somehow you saved me while you were unconscious. How does that even work? Maybe we saved each other, she whispered. I proposed 11 months after that first coffee date. I didn't do it at the hospital. That felt too heavy, too sad. Instead, I took her to the park where we'd had that conversation about saving each other. I'd arranged for a friend to set up hundreds of small candles in a circle at sunset. When she saw it, she gasped. What is this? This, I said, getting down on one knee, is me asking you to make the best mistake of my life permanent. Lily, I walked into the wrong room and found everything right. You are brilliant and brave and the kindest person I've ever met. You make me laugh when I want to cry. You challenge me to be better, and you saved my life just by waking up. I don't believe in accidents anymore. I believe we were supposed to meet exactly how we did. Will you marry me? She was crying, nodding before I even finished. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. We got married 14 months later on a Saturday in October, surrounded by everyone we loved. The ceremony was at this beautiful garden venue with trees turning gold and red. My mom, fully recovered and crying happy tears, walked me partway down the aisle before Lily's dad met us and walked me the rest of the way, symbolizing our families becoming one. Lily was breathtaking in her dress, and I genuinely forgot how to breathe when I saw her. The vows were the hardest part. I'd rewritten mine 17 times and they still didn't feel adequate. Everyone talks about love at first sight, I began, my voice shaking. But ours was love at first mistake. I walked into your room at my absolute lowest, broken and terrified and barely holding on, and somehow you heard me. You fought your way back through darkness because a stranger was honest about his pain. You gave me hope when I had none. You showed me that wrong turns can lead to exactly where you're meant to be. Lily, you are my miracle, and I promise to spend every single day of the rest of my life being worthy of that moment. When you opened your eyes and looked at me like I was someone worth coming back for, I was crying. She was crying. Everyone was crying. Lily's vows destroyed me. I was dying, she said, her voice clear despite the tears. I was in the dark and I was tired and I'd given up. But then I heard this voice, your voice, and it was so real and raw and full of love for someone else. And I thought, that's what I'm missing. That's what makes life worth living. That kind of love. You showed me what it means to love someone completely, even when I was a stranger. How could I not fall for that? How could I not want that for myself? You are my accidental miracle, my wrong room, right person, my proof that impossible things happen. And I choose you. Today and every day after, I choose you. There wasn't a dry eye in that garden. The reception was perfect, full of laughter, terrible dancing, and speeches from our families about how crazy our story was. Lily's brother joked that he'd tried everything to wake her up, and I just had to walk in complaining about microwaved fish. My mum said she'd almost died herself but gained the daughter she'd always wanted, so it evened out. Our first dance was to a song we'd both loved as kids. As we swayed together, Lily whispered, "Thank you for walking into the wrong room. "Thank you for waking up," I whispered back. That was 3 years ago. We're expecting our first baby now, a little girl due in May. We've already picked her middle name, Hope. Because that's what this whole impossible story is. Hope that wrong turns lead somewhere beautiful. Hope that our darkest moments can become our greatest blessings. Hope that love finds you even when you're not looking for it. My mom is healthy and thriving, constantly spoiling her soon-to-be granddaughter with tiny clothes and stuffed animals. Lily went back to pediatric nursing part-time and says her brush with death made her even more passionate about caring for kids. My business finally stabilized once I stopped trying to do everything alone and let Lily help me see clearly. Every morning I wake up next to my wife. I think about that Tuesday. That awful, beautiful, impossible Tuesday when I was too broken to read a room number correctly. When my pain somehow became someone else's lifeline. When two strangers collided in the most unexpected way and created something neither of us could have planned. People still don't believe our story when we tell them. They think we're exaggerating or making it up. But every word is true. I have the hospital records to prove it. I have the confused looks from the nurses who witnessed it. I have the doctor who still calls it the most remarkable case of his career. But more than that, I have Lily. I have our daughter growing inside her. I have a life so full of love and joy that sometimes I can't believe it's real. Here's what I learned. Life doesn't follow a plan. The best things don't come from carefully crafted strategies or perfect timing. They come from wrong turns and mistakes, and moments when you're too broken to pretend everything's fine. They come from being honest about your pain, vulnerable about your fear, real about your humanity. I walked into the wrong room completely shattered, and I walked out with everything I never knew I needed. So if you've messed up recently, if you've taken a wrong turn or made a mistake that feels unfixable, remember this. I married my biggest mistake. She's lying next to me right now, one hand on her growing belly, smiling in her sleep. And she's the best thing that ever happened to me. Your wrong turn might be leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Don't be afraid of getting lost. Sometimes getting lost is how you find your way home. Every scar tells a story. Every mistake teaches a lesson. And sometimes, just sometimes, walking through the wrong door leads you to exactly the right person. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's love. Real, messy, impossible, beautiful love. And I wouldn't change a single thing.